Volume warning, this is the only time I'm saying it. A few days ago, I went to bed feeling the saddest I ever have, and the only solace away from it was not being awake to feel it. After a fitful sleep, I woke up, and the first thing I did the next day was open Spotify to gang stalk Playboi Carti's artist page, and there I saw something beautiful. My eyes widened as I saw the words "I am music" staring back into them. I immediately shot up in bed and farted a little with excitement. I put in my earbuds and pressed play on that thing to immediately be met with this. It was like an adrenaline shot or someone putting their finger in your butt. I was wired immediately and attacked the day with a vigor by listening to that album. Well, the first 2 tracks at least. I'd saved the rest for stream because as a YouTuber, anything I enjoy in life has to be turned into work. Hi again, guys, and I'm a moderate to intermediate level Playboi Carti fan. I unironically love his music and have been listening to it for close to a decade. And on Friday, he dropped his new album, I Am Music, or just music if you're trying to be annoying about it. I'm doing full spoilers on this thing because I want to talk about the album properly, and you've probably had all the surprises ruined for you already. 5 years we've been waiting for this project on new music from Carti, and when he finally gave us some, boy did he give us a lot of it. Did you think his last album, Whole Lotta Red, was too short with its 24-song track list? One less than the Christmas day it dropped on. You almost got the theme right, Carti. Well, music has fucking 30. Carti might actually be music. This shit is a feature-length film. All possible music you could ever make is on this track list. Carti is literally music. So now that we're here, did it even live up to the hype? Well, it depends who you ask, of course. I was itching to listen to this as much as the next guy, but I also know that I didn't like half the songs on Whole Lotta Red when I first heard it, only to come around on a lot of them later on. So I met this album where it's at, not knowing what I would like and what I would, and to me, it ended up going 30 for 30. Not a single miss. It's the longest track list I've ever listened to, and I liked every song. Somewhere during my 24 years of life, I got the perfect lobotomy that lets me play this album on shuffle without ever needing to skip a track. You know, maybe on repeat listens, I'll like some songs less than I do now, but right now I'm in my honeymoon phase. Me and the album are on an all-expenses-paid vacation to Cloud 9. If you personally don't like the album, that's fine. I'm just begging you to keep it to yourself for at least the next few days. The hell I have been through to get here and have this high has been punishment enough. I earned it, right? The good people over at the Playboi Carti subreddit have really been through it as well, and I empathize with them. Whether they believe it or not, I deeply relate to their experience, like an old person trying to relate to their grandkids. I don't know if they like me back, though. I think they hate me. Ever since I made that video talking about some of the more shitpost and absurd stuff on that subreddit, some of you in the audience, specifically the ones who primarily listen to video game OSTs, you morons went over there and decided to be yourselves. What were you thinking? What they do on a daily basis over there is not made for people like you. If you ever perceive that subreddit ever, it should only be from a distance. That's why I made the curated video for you to watch so you can let them exist on their side of the internet. That's the whole point, you dolts! And truthfully, that video came from a place of reverence. But some of y'all used it as an excuse to cause trouble for those folk and to shit on Carti in general. Listen, call him a deadbeat dad all you want. We do the same shit whenever he lies to us. Just know your place. Carti's music unironically means a lot to me. I wasn't a day one fan on SoundCloud, but Magnolia and New Choppa with Rocky were kinda undeniable gems. And when Die Lit dropped my senior year of high school, it was basically the soundtrack of my summer and of me becoming an adult who pays taxes. And with Whole Lotta Red, his last album, the wait was also excruciating, but the hype was incredible. It dropped at the height of the pandemic on my first Christmas that I spent away from my family. You know, because of that funny disease wafting in the air. Listening and discussing that album online in the coming weeks and months and even years was a comfort to me. I'd only had my cat Smoke for a month at that point, so it was a bonding experience to put her on some good shit. And while that album wasn't loved by everyone at the time, it ended up being influential in ways some people only really give it credit for now. Now, if you're concerned about the excessive glazing, don't worry, there'll be more of that later. But not right now, because as happy as I am, we didn't get here without suffering a few layers of hell first. Like I said, the night before the album dropped, I went to bed sad as hell, and that's because Carti lies as much as Bill Clinton. And you know, to be fair, we already knew that from this album and Whole Lotta Red before it, but the wait for this album was over twice as long as Whole Lotta Red's 2-year wait. Nearly 5 this time around. The abuse Carti puts his audience through belongs in the Old Testament. Like a gay dude in a red state with Republican parents, it felt like this shit was never coming out. This rollout goes back to January last year, and even before that, it had been 3 years since it had first been teased. But January 2024, out of the blue, Carti just starts dropping a bunch of songs back to back, several within the space of weeks. They were getting tens of millions of views each, even when they were deleted by copyright and re-uploaded to other places. They all went viral on TikTok. Some had huge features like Travis Scott and pre-Super Hitler Kanye. The consistency was unbelievable. It was like Carti had a tutorial on how to properly roll out an album beamed into his brain, only for him to never put most of those songs on streaming services and go completely silent. A lot of us legit just gave up. There was the occasional hoax of Tomorrow for Sure that entire year. If you know anyone going like Deltarune Tomorrow right now, it was basically that. But that all changed when a few weeks ago, Spotify started putting up real-life ads with the iconic I Am Music text all over the place. Just shit that was clearly promoting Carti's work. Over the next few days, more and more of these were spotted, and unfortunately, we started to get our hopes up that it might be real this time. Then also out of nowhere, on March 11th, a random Tuesday morning, infamous hip-hop Twitter page, Kirko tweeted, Playboi Carti, I Am Music album, March 14th. Naturally, people who get bitten by dogs tend not to trust dogs anymore, and they are hellbent on not getting burned again. Nobody's falling for this, by the way. Quit smoking fent, brother. Come on, nothing ever happens, man. A community note even got added at one point saying that Kirko is talking out of his ass and that there was no confirmation anywhere that the album was coming out on Friday, March 14th. The day after Kirko posted the tweet, though, Carti came back to his Twitter for the first time in 3 years to save the day. Friday was all he said. And now Kirko seems like a prophet divining some objective truth from the gods. Like, after all the lies and false starts, how did Kirko know before anyone else, before it was officially announced, that this release date was the real deal? Putting in context of how long it's been, Carti's last tweet before this was 3 years ago, saying that the album we just got now was about to come out in 2022. My life and many other people's became a frenzy after that. It's almost a tradition that when a new, highly anticipated album is about to drop, people leak track lists that are almost always fake. A lot of times they're just screenshots of a Discord message with no source. I even got in on the fun, and the amount of people who didn't clock that the track list was fake, even after they saw the Maury Calliope feature, genuinely says terrible things for humanity's future. But all that aside, now I have to take what Kirko says seriously, and they were injecting the hype propaganda straight into my veins. They were tweeting rumored featured lists. They said without a shadow of a doubt that Kendrick Lamar was gonna be on this album. Hell, Academic's fat ass was calling Kendrick the creative director of the entire album. Filthy, a producer who actually worked on the album, said that this was not the case at all. Axe said he didn't know who Filthy was, despite apparently having insider access, even though there's literally a song on the album named after Filthy. And that back and forth didn't matter at all. It was a complete side quest. And that's really the point. It was so much information at once and near impossible to tell what was real until we got to see it ourselves. It was the most excruciating 48 hours of my life, including the birth of my daughter, and during the whole thing, there was doubt. Was Carti just yanking our chain one last time? One final lie for the road? Maybe. Now for this next chunk, there's important context. If you don't know, Billboard, the guys who run the official music charts, use a tracking period starting on Friday that ends Thursday the next week as the space of time that they're counting album and song sales during. And Billboard operates off of Eastern Standard Time. So for an artist to maximize the amount of time they can sell records to be counted during the tracking period, they almost will always drop a new project or song at midnight EST. It's kind of led to this tradition where dumbasses like me stay up till midnight to be among the first people to hear the album and react to it live as a community. It was a tense countdown to midnight, and this is about how that shit went for me.
This happened with Mr. Morale. Sometimes it got overflowed. Sometimes it takes a minute to show up. If it's on YouTube, it should be up immediately. The servers are a lot better on there. Guys, it's good. Guys, it's gonna happen. It's just taking a bit.
The guy fucking hates us. There's no other explanation. He probably doesn't even like making music. Hurting people who enjoy his music is his real passion. The tweets flood in. Kirko is saying the new confirmed time is 12 a.m. Pacific time. Apparently, Carti texted Academic saying so. It didn't really matter where it came from because I was still in denial. I kept refreshing the Spotify page like I was checking the cams on FNAF. The next few hours were somehow even more chaotic. Carti shows up on Twitter again to confirm the new release time, and he gives a list of official features, which is cool, though it does take away the surprise of hearing them for the first time, which was part of the fun. But hey, at least the feature list was mostly the same as what was being reported ahead of time, so not a huge deal. The one exception being a big black box on the feature list, a hidden one, and people were relieved to find out that Tizo Touchdown's name would not fit in that space. Of course, I was still sad about being lied to again, but at least it's happening in a time zone I can respect you living in. My sleep schedule's already fucked, so I was gonna be up at 2 a.m. my time either way. And hell, I can just listen to it with my friends in a cozy setting instead of on stream for content. And to his credit, Carti gave a pretty good reason for the delay. He posted a picture of him with Lil Uzi on FaceTime saying he had to make sure that he got him on the album. And you know, waiting 3 more hours to see Carti and Uzi reunite as 1629 for the first time in nearly a decade seems like a pretty good deal. I was like, alright, as far as reasons go, that's a good one. I can wait till then. This is how the clock hitting midnight again went.
Carti, where is it? Oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself.
Bro, there's different time zones, nigga, chill.
Yo, what the fuck? Nah, fuck that. Bro, am I a social experiment, my nigga?
Carti, where is it? Carti!
12 a.m., midnight on the West Coast. Still nothing. Genuine bad blood was forming in real time. What the hell is wrong with you, man? I was starting to be convinced Carti might genuinely be the worst person in history. It's stiff competition with the likes of Stalin and Hitler in the running, but Carti was hurting me on a personal enough level that he made a compelling case for himself. The audience was turning on each other too. We became cannibals. Up to this point, we had been blaming Carti, but it was changing nothing, so we needed an outlet. Anybody who thought they were being funny by commenting something like, "Carti, take your time, don't rush the album. We'll wait as long as you need." They became public enemy number 1. They were up on the chopping block for a fresh beheading. Think intro of Skyrim, French Revolution, you name it. Carti fans were giving no quarter. There would be no prisoners of war from this shit, no hostages, just bodies. The range of reactions to the news was diverse, but it was all extreme. Some people lost the will to continue, some kept slinging mean words at Carti, while others took drastic measures to force Carti into dropping the album. Here are not some of my favorites, because I don't know what it'd say about me if I liked them, but ones that stood out to me. I knew Carti wasn't dropping. Goodbye, everyone. I can't show you the picture of the completely safe-to-consume items this guy has in his hands, but it's funny to me because I'm pretty sure some of it is just straight-up estrogen. I have 14 hostages, and then the number trickles down with each minute that passes without the album releasing. I don't know what happened in the meantime, but the next tweet this guy did, he apparently wiped out 6 hostages in one go. Carti was still not compelled to drop. 9/11 if Playboi Carti did it. The New York skyline would still have these 2 beautiful towers looking over it if that were the case. The Carti subreddit was understandably in shambles. Do we kill Playboi Carti? Y'all, we got done played again. Group hanging in an hour. I might have just lost my job for this album. I got into an argument with my supervisor for not letting me take the day off on such short notice. She said I would not be returning to a job if I don't come in the next day. I did not come in. I didn't even get the album either. I don't think I have a job anymore. My school is gonna feel this one, Carti. I can't show you those pictures either. Use your imagination. But would you believe me if I said there are way worse ones than what I showed you here? It was a mess. The updates weren't coming from respected Twitter journalists anymore. Carti was just DMing streamers about what was happening. So news outlets had to credit Kai Cenat as their official source. V-Lone Predator said, via Kai Cenat, good night, I'm going to bed. It was 4 a.m. I was at my limits. I don't know what's going on anymore. Carti tells Kai the album was meant to come out at midnight EST, but he had to clear samples literally the night of release that got in the way. You had every person even vaguely adjacent to the creation of this album trying to run damage control. Filthy, Carti, and several others unironically said, any minute now, any minute. Where minutes became Carti telling folk to give it literal seconds. Those minutes and seconds eventually added up to hours past midnight again, and nothing fucking happened. Playboi Carti got a million dudes dressed like Nosferatu up at 3 a.m. crying in their chrome hearts in the name of opium right now. People said Kai Cenat was talking on stream like he was using a Ouija board, or he's an oracle interpreting whatever the hell Carti's trying to tell us. Any minute now. It's uploaded. You'll have the album in a second. Any minute now. Thank you. Coming directly from Carti should be reassuring, but those messages form the biggest middle finger I've ever been given. He's saying, fuck you to our faces now. Just doing anything but dropping the album. DMing streamers, telling them it's coming soon, later calling them, telling young Dabo to stop crying. I really don't care. It didn't get me any closer to hearing this album, and around 5 a.m. I finally decided I'm going to bed. Next day, I wake up, check, and I see the album is actually out. And this is how that shit had me.
Oh, what the fuck? In immediately, yes. 20 for 20 so far, dude. 20 for 20. 20 for 20!
As soon as I got the album in my hands, all was forgiven. I was just lashing out in emotion earlier. I wasn't mad, I was mourning. I thought I was never gonna get to hear that album at all. But here it is. It finally came out around 7 a.m. EST on the 14th. And while Carti lied his ass off through the entire thing, he did technically stay true to that May 14th release date. And oh boy, that heel turn on Twitter was something to see. How it felt listening to I Am Music for the first time. Utter bliss. I agree, but to be fair, considering my need for this to be good, otherwise I risk going into cardiac arrest, it probably could have been an hour of farts and I would have called it a classic. Carti watching everyone love the album after lying for 5 years. And the wait between albums really doubles each time, meaning Carti's gonna be pushing 40 by the time we get another project out of him. I feel bad for dudes with school, jobs, families, and futures. Right now, Carti has the unemployed folk turned, and that is what being a content creator is like. Unemployed. It's barely a job, much less a real one. And truthfully, I think I'm gonna remember this album rollout just as much, if not a little more, than the album itself. At least as a singular point in time, this album I'm gonna be listening to for a while. It was a legendary night on Twitter. Carti said he's got another album on the way already, Baby Boy he's calling it, but I don't believe him. Whatever happened to that Whole Lotta Red Deluxe? Right, this fucking dweeb said he forgore. We're starting the cycle all over again, but that said, we've barely talked about the album music as music. And there are a few bits I want to touch on. First, that Evil Jordan intro is getting clowned so hard. The OG version of the song did not have that intro, and it's been out for a while. People were saying that the addition sounded like a TikTok sound used to make fan edits. They just straight ripped it from the app. The beat drop legit sounds like the end of the Jackie's Box Mimics song. And that gunshot straight out of Roblox and early 2000s Flash animation brings it together for me. Not gonna lie though, a lot of people hate it, but that 8 count hit right before the actual song starts, it worked on me. I'm such a sucker for manufactured hype. I wouldn't have made the intro a minute fucking long, but I liked that part at least. The question of, is Kendrick on the album, obviously came up. Turns out, yes, and like a lot. He has not only 2 credited features on the album, but also a 3rd song where he's lathering the entire track in his ad-libs. Beep, 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 I need that extraterrestrial, Carti. It's kind of funny because he says some shit like, I need that, Carti, just like that, Carti, you know. It's funny because it sounds like gay sex, but also because it reminded me of Drake going, 21, can you do something for me? That people were also calling gay a few years back. Now, I personally enjoyed all the songs Carti and Kendrick did together. As songs, I think they're good, but I am a shill. I unironically like every song on the 30-song album. But speaking of Drake, people were looking at Kendrick a little funny because he collaborated with someone like Carti. Not so much because they don't mesh musically at all or something, more because he criticized Drake for being a deadbeat dad during their beef, and then he goes on to work pretty closely with Playboi Carti, who is like the final boss of absent fathers. Dude has a 4-year-old son with Iggy Azalea, who he apparently has not kept in contact with at all. She says he has not seen their child in the last 6 months. When Whole Lotta Red dropped, Iggy said he apparently missed the birth of their son because he wanted to play PlayStation with Lil Uzi. So for some, it was like, what's the deal with that, Kendrick? In response, other folks were bringing up lyrics where Kendrick says he's not your savior, that he is a hypocrite, and he's gonna do hypocritical things, so this shouldn't be a surprise. And I mean, it's not. He's done stuff like this before. I still listen and enjoy Kendrick's music anyways. But I mean, it obviously affects how I view him in some way whenever it does happen. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel on that point. I think the music's good, but I get where people are coming from. In other news, one of the lines on a song I caught immediately was Carti saying, I just canceled one of my shows to watch me a film, which I'm convinced is completely true. This dude thinks the whole thing is hilarious and can't believe that he keeps getting away with playing us like this, where at least some of us will eat it up no matter what he gives us every time. That's the thing though, it's only some. It's not everybody. Half the posts on Twitter and the Carti subreddit are about how the album is cheeks and not worth a 5-year wait. And if the tracks here just don't click with you, yeah, that's a very understandable feeling. Still, you can't stop the passage of time, meaning the loop will continue into the next album cycle. With A Whole Lotta Red, a lot of people disliked it at launch, but they came to appreciate it a lot more with time. So the true test of I Am Music is what people are gonna say about it in a few months to even years from now. By the time Carti announces another album, that's when we'll will probably come to a consensus. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Feel free to let me know what you think of Playboi Carti and his new album in the comments. If you enjoy this video, this card on the screen will take you to another one like it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an upload. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I'll see y'all next time.